So let's start with a new chapter today. Chapter number 8, Emerging Technologies. This chapter is introduced in the syllabus to make you aware of new technologies that are entering the market. This chapter consists basically of cloud technologies. Now let's see. Now first understand what is computing resources. In chapter number 6, Auditing of Information System, we were saying that we were buying servers for the organization, but the servers were not being fully utilized. They were lying idle. So we were calling it as inadequate usage of resources or inefficient usage of resources. After that, in chapter number 4, we were taking backup. In that also, in full backup, incremental backup, differential backup, and mirror backup. If we are taking backup unnecessarily, or we are taking backup again and again, we are calling it as inefficient use of storage space. So backup, servers, mainframe computer, peripheral equipment, all these resources, we will call them as computing resources. Okay. All the resources related to computer, we will call them computing resources. In each chapter, you can see that there is not full utilization of computing resources. Now, why do we require these computing resources? Let's see. It is required for operations. It is not used up to full capacity. Now, this underutilization is a business opportunity. If you look at it that way, you can club these computing resources and give them on rent to someone else. For example, small entrepreneurs or an aggregator. Now, what does aggregator do? Aggregator will collect all these computing resources. He will make a collection of them and outsource everything to either an individual or to many individuals.
Sir, excuse me.
Yes.
I'm not able to see your screen.
Can you repeat again?
I'm unable to see your screen.
Unable to? Yes, write it in the chat box. Unable to see the screen. Okay, I have not done any changes. Somebody left the conversation.
So sometimes even I won't be able to see your screen, sir. Only the screen which you share, it will come. Apart from which, your video will not be seen. Sometimes, probably the lag or something like that.
Yes, can you see now?
Yes, sir. I'm able to see. I don't know about Vaishnavi. Vaishnavi is not there, sir. Even Kirtana is not there.
But they had just joined the meeting. Now they have gone. Fine. We'll wait for 2 minutes.
So third chapter, how are we going to finish?
Third chapter. Yes, you are asking about third chapter, right? Hello, can you hear me?
Sir, only now I'm able to connect, sir.
Okay, am I audible? Am I visible? Is there a lag?
Sir.
It is basically because it is raining outside, nothing else. Okay, shall we continue?
Yes, sir.
So now we were saying that if these computing resources they are being underutilized, we will look at it as a business opportunity. We will rent it to someone, or we will give them to an aggregator, and the aggregator will further outsource them to someone else. So we can rent the cloud, we can purchase the information systems, we will use it for our own purposes, and the remaining resources which are underutilized, we will again rent them to someone else. We will first do the cost benefit analysis and decide. Just like we do capital budgeting, we will do cost benefit analysis. Now let's see what is cloud computing. Okay, this is a concept, cloud computing. It is a combination of hardware and software, where computing resources are delivered as a network service. Once again, it is a combination of hardware and software where computing resources is delivered as a network service. So if you have a mobile device or any other electronic device, and if you have internet, through that network you can access the cloud and you can use it as per your need. Now we are not talking about an individual person accessing the cloud, we are talking about organization accessing the cloud. Now you can imagine the requirement of data storage required for organization, then processing required in that data storage. After that, number of times the cloud will be accessed and data will be retrieved. So these are not basic operations. It will require special features to be upgraded by the cloud itself. Because if the cloud doesn't handle all these, the organization will not be able to carry its functions. That is why we will rent, or we will make a contract with the cloud service provider that please give us all these features, this storage space, these facilities, so that we can carry out functions in the cloud itself. Now let's see. User can access resources from anywhere at any time. So these are the benefits of cloud without having to maintain systems. If you see chapter number 4, a lot of BCP and DRP we have to do just to protect the information systems. Chapter number 3 is talking about what all controls you need to install for information systems. Okay, small activities, small controls. Together they become a lot of controls, and it is like instead of working in the organization, we are only controlling the organization more. Okay, so the balance is not being maintained. If that is the case, you can switch to cloud computing. Okay, it is not that there is no solution. There is always a solution. So that was the introduction of cloud computing. What you are supposed to remember is it is a combination of hardware and software where computing resources are delivered as a network service. After that, user can access resources from any time, anywhere without having to maintain systems. So even if he doesn't have the knowledge of how to do maintenance, if he doesn't have qualified and system and management staff, still he can use cloud computing resources. He just has to enter into a contract with the cloud service provider. Now let's see what are the characteristics. Okay, what all features we have in cloud computing. First one is virtualization. Because of virtualization, we can access the cloud from any device. We can carry out the functions from any device. Now, the storage devices and servers, everything is done in the cloud. So we don't have to carry it anywhere or purchase it for the organization. So because of this, we have achieved virtualization. After that, performance. We can measure our performance. Here, there is a specific term they have called. It is called loosely coupled architecture. Loosely coupled architecture. What does this mean? If it is not loosely coupled architecture, it means we cannot, as per our requirements, suddenly increase or suddenly reduce the storage space. If it is a loosely coupled architecture, we can do that easily. And even after we do that, we are able to monitor the performance. So in this point, performance, you are supposed to write, we can continuously monitor the performance of the cloud. Also, the cloud is a loosely coupled architecture, which doesn't affect the performance at all. That is what you have to write in performance. After that, agility. What is agility? It is responsiveness. Here again, there is a technical term, distributed mode environment. Now, what is distributed mode environment? Here in organization, a lot of users are accessing the cloud. They're accessing the database of the organization only, but it is on the cloud. So in this distributed mode environment, if we are not using the cloud, then it will become difficult to maintain that server, then have the logical controls, then authorization and all. So this all takes a lot of time, but in case of cloud, you can just use your user ID password. Controls are already there in the cloud. So we can say that it is highly responsive, or you can say it is agile. Okay, so in this point, you have to write distributed mode environment. Resources are being shared by a lot of users, and still it is agile. It is highly responsive. Then it is highly available and reliable. Now, what does this mean? Now, cloud services, the infrastructure, how it is built, it is optimum. The controls and all, everything is built in. So you don't have to take any extra efforts. That is why we are calling it reliable. And highly available is there, the chances of this infrastructure failure is very low. Very low as in a person has to take a lot of efforts and actually must have the intention of hacking the cloud. Only then he can make sure that the infrastructure of the cloud fails. Okay? That is why we call it high availability. The chances of cloud infrastructure failure are very low. So in this point, what you have to write is that the chances of infrastructure failure is minimum. The controls and all, everything is inbuilt in the cloud. That is why we call it as reliable. So virtualization, performance, agility, high availability, and reliability. After this, high scalability. Now, what is scalability? If our storage space is fully utilized in the cloud, what we will do is we will contact the cloud service providers and ask them that please give us some more storage space. So then they will ask how much do you need? As per that, they will increase our storage space and other facilities. Now, just by a phone call, they are increasing it, and if required, they can also decrease it. So what we will call it is it is highly scalable. It is highly scalable. What is scalable? We can change our agreement as per our business needs. Now, this will not happen if you are doing it by yourself in the organization. The servers and the backup devices and all, it will cost you a lot of amount. But if you are using cloud service providers, you can increase the server space or the storage space, whatever you want, whenever you want, just by making a phone call or placing a request. So we will call it as highly scalable. Then services in pay per user use mode. If we can't state it in the agreement that how much we are going to use, we will enter into agreement that if we use it, then we will pay for it. Okay. That is basically pay per use mode. The amount of storage we are using, only for that much storage we will pay to the cloud service provider. Now, what is SLA? SLA is service level agreements. Okay, in this agreement, we will write that if we are using this much storage space, this is the agreed pricing. We will pay as per this pricing. If this pricing is not affordable to us, we will not enter into this agreement. So this is here the technical term that you have to remember is service level agreement. Here in the previous points, you have to remember in case of performance, loosely coupled architecture. For agility, you have to remember distributed mode environment. For high availability and reliability, you have to remember infrastructure failure. For services in pay-per-use mode, you have to remember service level agreements. Then multi-sharing. So this is a basic point that the users can use the cloud all at once. There is no issue because we have a distributed mode environment. It will not only save us the cost of servers and backup space, but it will also make sure that the processing and all is done efficiently, as the guarantee is being taken by the cloud service provider itself. So multi-sharing is possible. Then maintenance. Okay, the maintenance and all, everything, the cost is borne by the cloud service providers. We need not think about the, earlier we used to think about who can come through maintenance room. Then in maintenance room, we were installing trap doors or dead man doors and all. So all that we don't have to do now. All the maintenance will be done by the cloud service providers. We will just access the cloud without installation. So here, so these were the characteristics of cloud computing. Is any point you want me to repeat here? Once again, virtualization, performance. In performance, remember loosely coupled architecture. In agility, remember distributed mode environment. In high availability and reliability, remember infrastructure failure. Then high scalability, then services in pay-per-use mode. In that, remember service level agreement. Then in multi-sharing, again you have to write distributed mode environment. Yes, have you understood? Shall we continue? This was the easy question.
Sir, could you just repeat that loosely coupled architecture again, sir?
Okay. Now, what is loosely coupled architecture? Here, what we will do is, we will have first a specific storage space. We will use it. But if the business requires most storage space, then we will just increase the storage space. So now for what we will do is, the same controls we had for our earlier storage space, we will apply them for the additional storage space also. So there is no specific architecture that if the storage space has increased, we will use this protocol or that protocol. We are using the same protocols for everything that if we are expanding or we are contracting, the same architecture we are going to use. So that is why we are calling it loosely coupled architecture. What you have to remember
Yes.
here in this term is that why we are calling it loosely coupled architecture is, if it is not loosely coupled, there will be a lot of protocols, a lot of guidelines and directions that if you are increasing your storage space, we have to do this, we have to do that. A lot of time will waste. But if it is loosely coupled architecture, whenever we need, how much is whatever may be your needs, you can just increase the storage space. Everything will be same. The protocols will be same. The controls will be same. So that is why we are including it in the performance point, that because they have a loosely coupled architecture, the performance will never be affected by increasing the storage space or decreasing the storage space. If you want, you can remember that. If you can't remember it, forget it. Just remember that even if we are increasing or decreasing space, it will not affect our performance. Okay, shall we continue? Shall we move on to the next question? Now I am going to do this for every question. If I feel that there is a possibility something may go wrong. Now, what are the goals of cloud computing? Means what is the objective, or we can call it what it aims to provide you. What are the services it wants to provide? First point is creation of highly efficient IT ecosystem. What is HEIT? It is highly efficient IT ecosystem. Okay, I have clubbed it because the point was becoming bigger and bigger. We want to create a highly efficient IT ecosystem. Now, servers, backup devices, maintenance and all is everything is done in the cloud itself. We are saving cost, we are saving time, our performance is never going to be affected. So we can call it as a highly efficient IT ecosystem. If you want that, you must switch to cloud computing. Then you can access it anywhere at any time. That is what we are talking about as virtualization. Then scalable. What is scalable? As per our requirements of our business, you can increase the storage space or decrease the storage space. Okay, I'm not saying storage space, you can say computing resources. Then it will reduce our cost of power and energy. Okay, so there is also saving in power and energy. The only additional cost that you have to bear here is the network service charges. And that is also significantly high. So we have to make that analysis, that cost saving in power, energy and all, and then compare it with the network service charges. After that, rapid provision of resources. That is what we are saying as loosely coupled architecture and distributed mode environment. Even if all are using, still within a phone call or within seconds of our intimation that we need more storage space, we will be given more storage space. Then consolidation of IT infrastructure. everything is at one place on database in the cloud. In that we can assign the layers how data will be stored. So that is what we are doing, is we are doing internal labeling. What we are doing is internal labeling. We can also do consolidation and all. So basically, sitting in our organization, we can design the infrastructure of our database. So we will call it as consolidation of IT infrastructure. Then it is more integrated and manageable environment. Okay. The cloud service providers, they will prepare the architecture in such a way that it is more integrated. What is more integrated? All the functions, they will work with each other. They are connected to each other, and it is a manageable environment. What is manageable environment? Now we don't have to focus more on authorization, policy hierarchy, approval and all, because everything is in the cloud. We will just use the controls. If authorization is not there, it will just display a message and tell you to confirm the same automatically. So we will call it as more integrated and manageable environment. Once again, you can remember these goals as CARS RCM. CARS RCM. What is CARS RCM? Just a minute. Creation of highly efficient IT ecosystem, access anywhere, anytime, reduce cost of power, energy, scalable, rapid provision of resources, consolidation of IT infrastructure, and more integrated and manageable environment. So you can see majority of the points, they have come from characteristics of cloud computing. If you want, you can write these answers side by side, and you can do match the following using arrows, that this particular goal of cloud computing is related to this characteristic of cloud computing, that you will get more insight into what we are learning. After this, now let's see what are the challenges in cloud computing. Where do we face problems if we are using cloud computing? Okay, till now we have talked about how useful it is, how much cost saving we will have, then what are the additional benefits, how much cost will be reduced and all. Now let's see what are the challenges in cloud computing. First one is confidentiality, integrity and availability. Okay, I will ask you a question. You have to tell me whether it is confidentiality, integrity or availability. Now I went into the ATM. I entered the PIN details, but I was not able to access my account.
Availability.
Availability. After that, I had entered that I want to withdraw 10,000 rupees, but something happened and I was only able to withdraw 2,000 rupees, but from my bank account 10,000 rupees were debited.
Integrity.
Integrity. And then I saw that someone had hacked into my bank account. The person didn't do anything. He just hacked into my account, saw all the details and went away.
Confidentiality.
So you can understand.
Confidential.
Yes, yes. So you can understand, I should be able to view all the documents only. No one else should be able to view all the documents. So that is confidentiality. Even if someone else views the documents, he should not be able to alter the document. So that is integrity, and the document should be available to me whenever I need it. That is what is confidentiality, integrity, availability. Now, we have to prevent unauthorized access into the cloud. it is a challenge for them to ensure confidentiality, integrity, availability, because there are a lot of users of the organization. Anybody can steal those credentials and log in from a different device, and there will be issues in confidentiality, integrity, and availability. That is all that you have to say. You have to first explain what it is and tell what can happen, that credentials can be stolen. Then governance, legal compliance. Okay, now we are back to chapter number 1. Yes, can anyone tell what is governance?
It's an organized mechanism for evaluating options, setting directions, monitoring compliance.
Yes, sir. So imagine doing that, evaluating options, giving directions, and doing compliance in cloud. Okay, so it is a bit difficult to do governance in the cloud. You have to tell what is governance first, and then tell that as the policies and procedures and standards and guidelines, they are not issued by the organization, it is a bit difficult to do governance. We have to go through the protocol of the cloud service provider. So that is what is the problem in governance. For legal compliance, what you have to tell is, now the cloud, it is situated in other geographical location, and our company or organization, it is located somewhere else. So what we have to make sure is that we are not breaking any laws. If we are making payment to the network service providers, we have to make sure that we are deducting TDS and making payments as well. And if the service provider, he comes in a higher tax bracket, accordingly we have to make sure that he's also paying his taxes and all. So a lot of legal issues are there. Sometimes these cloud service providers, they run away just because of tax issues. So these are the problems in legal compliance. It is difficult to establish boundaries, geographical boundaries, and the status of legal implications. After that, data stealing. This is basically data leakage. Okay, just here, the documents which we have deleted, someone can steal data from them, or again, someone can steal your credentials and access the system. Okay, not the system, the cloud. So data stealing. See these challenges, there are a lot of challenges, 12 to 15 they have given. You're not supposed to write all of them, just write 4 to 8 points here. Then audit. Now we are auditing in the cloud. Okay, we will be given credentials as an auditor. They will add a specific layer. We will call it as an audit layer. Through that layer, we will see what are all the functions happening in the cloud, how they are being performed, whether there are controls or not, whether we can maintain audit trail or not. So that is all we will see in audit. Then incident response. If something happens, like a transaction was not executed properly, or the transaction execution took a lot of time, or it stopped processing after a certain period of time. So we will call it as an incident. Now after that incident happened, what were the measures that we took as an organization? That is what is incident response mechanism. Now obviously for cloud, they will have their own incident response mechanism, and as an organization, we also ourselves will have an incident response mechanism. So integrating both the mechanisms or following their mechanism will be a bit of a challenge in case of cloud. Then software isolation. Now on cloud, there are a lot of customers and all. The servers and the storage spaces they are all kept at one location. So it is a bit difficult to develop software in isolation. So what they will do is, they will isolate our software and then we will develop the same. Now why is it difficult? Because it is a multi-tenant software architecture. What is multi-tenant software architecture? imagine softwares like SAP and all, they require crores of rupees, but their utilization is not as much from the earlier stage of the company. So what we will do is we will rent the SAP on sharing basis. That is what is multi-tenant software architecture. You can also call it as a distributed mode environment. Only here, instead of users of the organization, there will be a lot of organizations. So we will isolate this software from the cloud, and this software will be available to everyone to use. So it is not just that they are giving you computing resources or backup devices. These large softwares like SAP, ERP, COVID-5, you can just keep them in the cloud, and it is not that only you have to use. You can even rent it to someone else. So you can imagine by this how much cost cutting we can achieve. But it is a challenge because the software is being used by a lot of organizations. If there is a request that they want more facilities, suddenly it will become a bit difficult to provide them with the facilities. In that case, you must have a contract beforehand. Then identity management, just what we were talking about. The credentials may be stolen. We need more security measures and all. Now read what I've written in this circle and tell me if you can understand what I've written. So what it is basically saying is the architecture will give capabilities to the organization to identify the user. So what this architecture is called as Robust Federated Identity Management Architecture, RFI, and it will facilitate authorization and authentication. Just before authorization and authentication, they have written Federal Identity Management Authorization and Authentication. So you need not get confused here. Just remember that because of the architecture, we will be able to identify who are all the users. So that is what we will do in identity management. We'll continue in 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere.